vocabulary review. We have all the different types of a parallelogram. We have number one, the parallelogram. And then it could either be a rhombus or a rectangle. And if it's a square, it has both the properties of the rhombus and the rectangle, right? Okay, so first question. All parallelograms are quadrilaterals or rectangles? What do you think? Quadrilateral, perfect. All parallelograms have opposite sides that are parallel or perpendicular? Parallel, true. Some parallelograms are trapezoids or rectangles.
Parallel.
What do you think? Some parallelograms are trapezoids or some parallelograms are rectangles. What do you think? Rectangles. Because it's the difference. When you have, remember, you started with the quadrilateral and then you looked at the number of parallel lines. Right? If there was two sets, it gave you the parallelogram. And if there's only one set, then it gave you a trapezoid. Remember that? Good? All right, so now what we're going to start doing is we are going to start finding the area of our quadrilateral. So area is the number of square units needed to cover a given surface. All right? Paint, most useful thing when you're trying to figure out how many gallons of paint, because you don't want to buy too much. All right? So, you find the area of a parallelogram, how? Yep. All right. So your area is your base times your height. All right. So for number 4, Gary, what's the area for number 4? 1, 2. Okay. Then Maddie, what is the area for number 5 parallelogram? Four, 5, 6. I agree with that one. Where'd you get 2?
Well, I counted the halves, but I guess.
Well, actually, then that's what the biggest thing with a parallelogram. You use when you drop from the vertice, make it perpendicular to the base here. That becomes your height. Anybody remember what kind of line that was?
Vertical line.
No, it came from the vertice and it was perpendicular to the base. Yep, what was that called? It starts with an A. L.
Altitude.
Altitude, beautiful. Okay, so you're basically finding the altitude, and the altitude 1, 2, 3, and so it also has a unit of 18. All right, Matthew, how about number 6? Hold on a minute, Peyton. Okay, so you did 1, 2, 3. Times 3 gives you 9, except for what's the figure that we're trying to find? That's for the square. What do we want to do for the triangle? Take 1/2 or divide it by 2. Either one, either way you want to call it. All right. Beautiful. All right. So. All right. So here's our theorems. Okay. Finding the area of a rectangle is your base times your height. Area of parallelogram is also the base times the height. The difference is your h is the altitude. Okay? The other thing, if you remember about altitudes, it comes from the vertex and is perpendicular. You can also find it outside. So you could come from this vertex and drop it down too. That also can be your height as well. Whichever one you know, it works. Okay? All right, so let's go down to the first one. The area of the parallelogram with a base length of 12 and a height of 9. So this is 12. My height is going to be 9. And so what's 9 times 12? 108?
Yeah.
Okay, easy peasy. All right, so this time we're going to use the area to find a missing dimension. Okay, so I have a parallel. It has sides of 15 and 18. And the height corresponding to the 15 is 9, but what's the height corresponding to the 18? What does it mean to have a height corresponding with one side or another?
That means it's the same.
No.
But it will be.
No. Because remember what the height is. The height is the altitude. So if this side is 15, then this point right here is going to be my height, which is 9. Okay? However, if I have this side is 18, dropping the altitude is going to give me the height over here. All right? And they're going to be different. So let's find the area of the parallelogram, and then we can find the height of that side. Okay? So, everybody with me? Okay. So to find my area, what am I going to have? What's my base times height?
15 and 9.
15's my base and 9's my height. So my area is going to be equal to what? 135. Perfect. Okay, good. All right, go to the next page. So if I have 135 and I want the height for the 18-inch, that means that 135 is equal to 18 times my height. Good? All right, so if I divide both sides by 18, who's got my calculator for me? What's 135 divided by 18? 7.5. All right, so that means that the height here is equal to 7.5. Okay, good. All right, so we already talked about, we know that the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. Okay, so one of the things you got to be careful for when you're finding area of stuff is that you have to have everything in the same units. So when I'm looking at my triangle, this one's in inches, this is feet in inches, and that one's in feet. I have to make everything in one the same unit to be able to find my area. So if I have 1 feet, that's going to be 12 inches. And 1 feet 1 inch is going to be 13 inches. Do I really care what the hypotenuse is? No, because my area is 1/2 of base times height. And since my base is 12 and my height is 5, that's going to give me 6 times 5, so my area is 30. Okay? Where'd I get the 6 from? 12 divided by 2. Absolutely. All right. Good? Okay. You what? Confused on what part? The area of the triangle one? Okay, so we were feet in inches, I first converted everything into inches. Okay, does that make sense? Yes. So this side length was 1 foot, but my height was in 5 inches. So I had to convert this side into inches as well. Okay, does that make more sense? So then, using my formula of the 1/2 base times height, my base is the 12 inches, and my height is the 5 inches. So then, 1/2 of 12 gave me 6, and then 6 times 5 gave me the 30. Better? Good. Thanks for stopping me. All right, one more. Okay, so basically in real life, things don't come all neat in a perfect little square something. So we have what they call irregular figures. All right? What do you think you should do to go about finding irregular figures? Go ahead.
Find the area of one figure
And then add them together. Break it down into parts that we know, okay? So, for instance, if I want to find the area of my square, that's going to be 6 times 6. Would you agree with that? And if I want to find the area of my triangle, that's 1/2 of 6 times 8. And then I can just add them together. So 36 plus 24 is going to give me 60. Okay? Good? All right, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to complete on your own right now your lesson check, okay? And then kind of rate yourself on how well you understand stuff. And while you're doing that, I'm going to bring around some practice problems for you. Yay!